It is the show that never sleeps in the league that never sleeps. Hello and welcome along to another edition of Marketplace. It is the NBL's look at the free agency period. We're not even at Summer League yet, and we've still got a flurry of signings, both local and imports, that are joining the Hungry Jacks NBL. I'm Jack Heverin. As always, he is the best newsbreaker in Australian basketball, Olgun Uluc from ESPN.com.au. And Olgun, let's start with the Tasmania JackJumpers. They got the biggest piece of the jigsaw puzzle locked away last week with Milton Doyle, and because of that, they can now get active with some other signings.
They can, Jack, and the JackJumpers are effectively done at this point. Milton Doyle was priority number one. I am told that they have locked in their point guard, their replacement for Josh Majok. That is Jordon Crawford. Recently played at Büyükçekmece in Turkey, was the leading scorer in the Turkish Basketball League this past season. And so he is a 5'6", crafty point guard. His shooting splits over his time in Europe over the past few seasons have been really, really impressive. And so he comes in. We've had small point guards in the NBL before. We've seen Jerome Randall, even Jalen Adams was pretty small. They've had some level of success. 5'6" is particularly short, but there's an expectation that he's going to come in and be really crafty and really energetic and bring a fiery competitiveness to the JackJumpers.
He's an interesting signing for two reasons, Olgun. One, I've been really interested to see the social media tweets from players around the league who have played with him or against him before, who have said the same thing. But then also all the bios that you read about him is how tough and how feisty he is. And to me, that kind of sums up JackJumpers basketball, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so you can attack it two ways. In one sense, you don't want to keep mentioning the fact that he's 5'6", because again, he's one of the shorter players in world basketball today. But conversely, you look at it and you think, in order to excel and to grow in world basketball to the extent that he has and play at the level he has, at that height, you have to be particularly skilled. You have to be extra skilled in order to overcome that. And that's exactly what he is. And like you said, every player who's played with him, every person who's coached him, says similar things about him, that he's extremely crafty, he's unbelievably skilled, and is really, really competitive. And I think the fact that he was able to lead a really quality league in scoring at that height, and he has big shoes to fill as well. Josh Majok, as much as he had ups and downs, they made the playoffs the first two seasons with him in that team. They made the finals that first year, and so he has to replace that from not just an on-court perspective, where he has to be a floor setter and a table setter and a floor general, like Josh Majok did in a really elite way, but he also has to step up as a leader as well. And I think Jordon Crawford has the potential to sort of be the emotional barometer for that team.
Okay, so that's one, and I think Tasmania fans are really going to love Crawford if you haven't seen his highlights as yet. But there are other signings as well for Tasmania. What else can you tell us?
So I'm told, Jack, that Marcus Lee has signed a one-year deal with the Tasmania JackJumpers. Now, we remember Marcus Lee from last season. He joined Melbourne United in the midway point of last season and completely transformed what they did on both ends. When you look at the advanced numbers, granted he wasn't here for an entire season, his advanced numbers fly off the charts. He was easily the most effective player in the league last season. Defensively, his ability to block shots, his length, his athleticism, it really transformed what Melbourne United was, and he was the catalyst for their home stretch that nearly got them into the play-in games. He joins the Tasmania JackJumpers, and for a team that has had a defensive identity over the past two seasons and lost some of its core bench guys, I think the addition of not just Crawford, but Lee, really bolsters the defensive identity that team has had since its inception.
This is a really savvy signing, I think. I know some other teams around the league had a look at Marcus Lee, but you're right, Olgun. This is a nuts and bolts big guy who can come in and now has got a bit of an understanding of the league. For sure. And there's also the idea of insurance for Will Magnay, who has dealt with some lower body injuries in the past. And so having that insurance be Marcus Lee is a really good get for the Tasmania JackJumpers. One more I'm told, Jack, is I'm told the team is in advanced talks with Majok Deng to join and take their final local spot. And so, assuming that gets done, and I fully expect it to get done, with Marcus Lee coming in, with Jordon Crawford coming in, and with Milton Doyle already locked up, that's the JackJumpers done. They have no need for this season to go to NBA Summer League. Their roster is full unless they go and get an extra. That's their roster done. Jack McVeigh, Anthony Drimmick into that potential starting five as well. It's looking pretty good for Tasmania. Well done to the JJ. Some good news. I know that their fans have been just a little nervous in the last few weeks about what's going on, but this should give them some reassurances. Across the ditch to New Zealand as a follow-up to your story from the weekend with Mody Maor, the coach of the New Zealand Breakers. He hinted that some signings were close. Now, talk about signings that have been well received both here and abroad. The Breakers' first import signing looks to be a very, very popular one.
Yeah, Maor told me over the weekend that he wanted a 4-5, and everything I was hearing was that they had locked that guy in already. And that's who this is. Zylan Cheatham, a 6'8", super athletic, bouncy, skilled big man, joins the New Zealand Breakers. He's the first import. They do want to find two perimeter guys beyond that, but Cheatham is someone who they really, really like. He's someone who can play at the 4 spot, and I expect him to start at the 4 next to Mango Machang in that front court. Him playing with Will McDowell-White as a lob threat, as someone who can defend multiple positions defensively. He recently played at Bayern Munich. He's had a stint in the NBA as well, was really effective in the G League. So he's someone who a lot of teams around the NBL were asking questions about. A lot of teams are looking for that 4 spot. We've seen it over the past few years, how crucial that is. Multiple teams had conversations with Cheatham, but it was the Breakers who were able to get that over the line.
So next for them, perimeter shooters, as we touched on last time.
It's exactly what they're looking for. They still have some local spots to fill as well. They've just lost Tom Vodanovic, who's heading over to the Philippines, which we reported a few weeks ago. But they want those perimeter shooters. They want 2 wings, basically. Mody Maor said a 2 and a 3, but not really. They want 2 wing perimeter players who can create. I think they need some shooting as well. And so that was a key coming into this offseason. They weren't able to find that creation in the local market, and so that's what they're looking for in the import market, and they'll head to Summer League looking for those 2 spots.
So really big, a couple of days coming up. NBA draft is not that far away. Best of luck to Rayan Rupert, who has been invited to the green room, which is very cool for him, and I know a lot of Breakers fans will be watching on. But then after the draft, Olgun, a lot of attention turns to Summer League, and some good news for some Aussie guys who are going to be getting some Summer League action.
Yeah, that's right. So the way Summer League works, usually as soon as Summer League ends, teams and agents come together and there are negotiations with the undrafted players who might head to Summer League and with which team. We'll hear a few Australians and NBL players. We'll see that happen with them tomorrow. There are a few right now that I can tell you, Jack. I'm told that Keanu Pinder will play Summer League basketball with the Phoenix Suns. And I can also tell you that DJ Hogue will play Summer League basketball with the Toronto Raptors. So these are 2 guys who have already locked in their spots on Summer League rosters going into next month in the American summer. And I'm also told that Xavier Cooks, the MVP of last season, 2-time NBL champion, he will play a few Summer League games for the Washington Wizards. He had signed a multi-year deal. Next year is a guaranteed contract. But he will play a few games for the Wizards just to sort of learn more about their system, get his feet under him a little bit within that franchise. And then, stay tuned for tomorrow. Post-draft, there will be a few more NBL players who will be snatched up on Summer League rosters. There are talks happening right now.
The NBL just continues to be on the global stage. Olgun, as always, great to see you. Great work at ESPN.com.au. You can check out all of Olgun's work there and on his social media platforms, which are just flying at the moment as well. We'll catch you next time.
See you next time, Jack.
Thanks for being with us on The Marketplace, and we will see you next time as well. In the meantime, stay up to date with everything happening across free agency and in the road to Summer League. You can go to NBL.com.au.